Hey guys, Dev here at WeBuyHouses.com. Welcome to the Cash Offer Masterclass. It's episode number 103. I told you this was coming. I told you I had this guy coming, Dallin Cottle from RoarCXO. He'll tell you all about who he is. Today we're talking about meta marketing for real estate investors specifically, which is his domain and his level, his area of expertise. And so we're super excited to talk about this topic today, Dallin. Tell these guys who you are and what is this Roar CXO thing?
Awesome. Well, thanks, Dev, and thanks everybody for listening. Dallin Cottle. I'm based out of here, Salt Lake City, Utah. Beautiful place to live, and we are fractional CMOs for real estate investors. So essentially, we help investors with all these things marketing, right? And so my background started in, let's see here, 2015. I've been in marketing and sales for the last 15 years, but about 10 years ago, started working at this advertising firm, doing meta ads and Google ads, and then branched out of there and started doing my own thing, almost solely focused on meta ads, and then started a wholesale business back in 2017. And I got all my deals and got everyone else deals based off of meta ads. So lots changed since then, but that's kind of a quick background. Happy to dive into any other details there.
Yeah, that's amazing. Now, I did notice something. Seems like you made a little tweak to the name of your company recently. Like you were Roar CMO, so
Yeah. Yep.
fractional CMO, but you've changed it to CXO. Is that right?
We've had an amazing evolution since 2017, where we started out as just like a full service marketing agency. And then we rebranded from Roar, that was Roar Media, and then we rebranded to
Okay.
Roar CMO because what we realized is that a lot of these investors and a lot of our clients they just needed something deeper. And traditional marketing agencies just weren't really cutting it. They weren't going deep enough into those in certain categories. And so we started doing more fractional or consulting work. And so we changed it from Roar Media to Roar CMO. And then just recently, as we've generated more leads for clients, then what we've noticed is we've created operational issues. And so now we're kind of rolling in an entire executive suite. So we now do COO, fractional COOs. And then here in the next couple of months, we'll be launching our fractional AIOs. So AI officers
Oh
that
my,
build and,
that's very cool.
yep, I'm going to do all
Yeah,
that fun stuff. So we're just following the problems that investors have as they scale their businesses. So
awesome. Hey, Dallin, one of my We Buy Houses clients wants to join. I'm going to invite him in.
yeah.
He might have better questions than I do. His name is Garfield Duncan.
Awesome.
So here joining us right now is Garfield Duncan. He's the We Buy Houses guy in Winston-Salem, Greensboro, that area of North Carolina. Been with us forever. Has a lot of interest in the topic. How you doing, Garfield?
I'm doing fine. Good to see you, Deb.
All right. We just hit this one point, and he and I were having a good conversation. He had given a presentation, and he mentioned that Facebook advertising had gotten a lot better because of the AI. And then I had this history of Facebook used to be good, and then the Cambridge Analytica thing happened, and then Facebook targeting became like about the worst on the planet, and you could not even target homeowners or you're probably children were seeing our I don't know but um, Dallin said something to me about they have now implemented AI and it's gotten way better. So that was the introduction I had to this topic. I don't know what you're going to say to us. So let me go back to you, Dallin, and kind of what is going on with meta marketing and why do you think it's getting better? You sounds like from what you said a moment ago, you have been pretty good at exploiting Facebook, Instagram for quite a while, but now you think things are getting much better for us as advertisers. Can you tell us
Yeah.
what's going on?
Yeah. I think it's helpful in the investment space, or like for real estate investors, to kind of understand where meta kind of fits into the whole of marketing, right? Because I think that the first thing you need to understand about meta, and we can go into lots of details or whatever if we want, but the biggest thing that I see is that they treat the reason why a lot of people fail at meta ads is they treat it like all the other channels. They think about it like the other channels. So Google is a good example. Google, high intent, people are literally saying, I need to sell my house fast, and they're typing it into Google, right? It kind of makes sense. But it seems like when we go to Meta, we're kind of like saying we want to go find that same person, right? And so what we do is we think that we can outsmart the algorithm. And so what we do is we set our targeting, and we say we only want to target this area, and we only want to target this. And most of our people have an interest in these certain things, and we start creating all these interest-based targeting inside of the ads platform. And there was a period of time where that did work, like you were saying, Dev, like where we got to kind of choose what that target looked like. And previous to that, we used to be able to upload lists and be able to target people directly and all these kind of things. But with real estate, there's certain special categories that certain things we cannot do. Now, with the Andromeda update, I think it's been a little while. It's been about a year now, but it's evolving constantly. Where we're at today is that AI finding your target audience is way better than you guessing. And so really at the most basic level, if you're going to run meta ads, you're going to do a couple things that we see working right now. One is set the minimum age to 24. So don't worry about the 18, 24. Well, I say 24 for a reason, because we've seen if you test higher than that, you miss out on potential like inheriting homes, things like that. There are some people in that category that would fall into it, or people that are in the household, but maybe not the actual decision maker, but we're still reaching the right people. So 24 and above. And then the other thing is that you're going to set your geographical targeting, but that is it. So you're not going to guess what you think the interest is. You're not going to put any other layers in there, and you're going to leave everything open inside of Meta Ads Manager. You're just going to keep it very much, let the AI go and find the right person. Meta has so many data points and understands us on the platform better than we probably understand ourselves. And so we need to lean into that if we're going to get the result. Now, I can stop there, and I have so many other things I could share, but I'll stop there for a second if you guys have any other follow-up questions on that.
Yeah. When you're thinking about advertising on Meta, is it actual ads with landing pages, or is it boosted posts, or is it any of the above of their ad products?
Great question. So what we see working, and I think it's always this evolution of testing, A/B testing all the time. And if someone's listening to this and you understand Meta, you'll understand what I'm talking about. And for others that don't know the platform super well, you can tell your Meta guy or whatever this thing. When you set up a campaign with Meta, you're just going to set up one campaign in one ad set. You don't have to do anything else. You don't have to create a bunch of different test campaigns. You don't have to do anything else. One campaign, one ad set. And then this is where to answer your question, Dev, your creative, the content that you create is where you win. This is how you win the actual leads and the deals, is you're going to create lots of content. So week one, when you launch the ads, you're going to throw out 5 videos where you're going to be talking about, we buy houses in North Carolina, right? And if you've inherited a property, if you bankruptcy, like you're going to talk about the motivations that would attract somebody. Meta knows in their algorithm people that are looking for solutions to those problems. They're going through a bankruptcy. It knows if they're going through a divorce. It knows some of these things, right? And so because it knows a lot of things that kind of scare us. And so long story short, if you say it in your ad and you say it in your copy, hey, if we buy houses in North Carolina, then Meta's algorithm, the AI, is going to grab that and it's going to go try to find the right people for that particular piece of content. Now, what a lot of people do historically is that, if it's not working, they go and create a new campaign, they create a bunch of different ad set, and they start testing a bunch of different things. You don't want to do that anymore. You want to just throw in, if you're creating 2 new ads a week, you're just going to keep throwing it into that same ad set every single time. 20 pieces of content, 30 pieces of content, 50, 100, it doesn't matter. Meta will grab the new content, it'll kind of cycle it through, and if it has legs, it will rise it to the top and it'll start showing that piece of content. And if it doesn't have legs, it will just die on its own. You don't have to turn it off, do anything with it, just leave it in that account and just let it sit there and let it run. Now, something recently, and I'm talking like the last 30 days, we've been testing a lot more like image ads versus video. And we're seeing really, really good results with image ads. And I have a theory behind why that is. I think for so long, we were under this illusion that like, if we tried to trick the audience to thinking it wasn't an ad and it just felt natural on their feed, then they would click. But what I'm noticing is if the AI is so good at finding these people, then we've got to tell them what we do extremely quick. And an image that just says we buy houses in North Carolina is way faster to understand instantly than trying to watch a video where you talk about it for 60 seconds or 30 seconds. Right. And so I think image ads are starting to see a rise, and we're starting to see our cost per lead lower by using images, just throwing them into that ad set. But remember, everybody's a little different. Some people consume video, will consume images faster. So just throwing all of it in there and then letting Meta decide what video, when, what image, at what time. Let it decide what is shown to who. Does that make sense so far?
Yeah.
So that's what we're seeing with the creative. It's a very simple thing. We've it's not proprietary at all, but we've built inside of our Claude, we've built an AI script maker for meta ads. So basically trained the agent basically on everything Andromeda, how to go read articles, see the latest updates, releases, all this kind of stuff. And then gave it all the information about real estate investors in our market, the type of audiences we're going after, the lists, the conversations, uploaded a bunch of transcripts from calls just like this and other with other investors and our clients and things like that, and trained it. And now we can say, we need a script for Garfield in North Carolina. Here's his business. Here's a little bit about him. Go create a script for his meta ads, and it will spit out a script that matches what the algorithm is looking for to help him go find the right people. So that's what we're seeing on the creative side. Is it's all about the script, the content, and the images, and then letting Meta, basically getting out of the way and letting Meta do the work.
Yeah. And you're saying the more you try to tell it, the less freedom it has to use the AI to optimize.
Exactly.
You keep saying I think I've heard you say a couple of times here, Andromeda. Am I saying that right? Is that
Andromeda? Yep.
Was that the change that they made at Meta, and when did that happen?
Yeah. I knew you were going to ask me the actual date. Because it was let's see here. It was on, when did it release?
Because basically what we're talking about here is that Meta before was kind of a dumb platform. And now that this has happened, it's become a very smart targeting system. And
so it was back in January of 2025.
Okay. And you're,
but it's evolving every single day. Like it's constantly evolving. Yeah. So it's a moving target, as we know. And with AI, like it's training itself on the data. So like it's getting smarter too. And that's the other thing here that I think is most important is what you tell Meta is just as important as what you do inside of Meta. And I'll explain what I mean by that. When a lead comes in and you, through the conversion API, if you're telling Meta that it's a good lead and it's not, then you're going to get more not so good leads. So you have to set up your conversion tracking in a way that tells Meta exactly what is a qualified lead. So you may have different criteria of what is, maybe you've noticed a trend on all your Meta leads, no one has equity, right? Well, if you can isolate that and just send back the conversion through a conversion API, only the qualified lead data, and tell it that that's what is a qualified lead, or when they book a call with you, that is what a qualified lead is, or appointment. That's a way to tell Meta to go find more like that, more highly motivated versus just random leads with lead forms. Don't do lead forms.
Yeah.
Oh.
Don't do lead forms.
Don't do lead forms. No.
Yeah.
Lead forms just get garbage, because lead forms are, Meta literally goes out and finds people that will just fill out forms.
Right.
And we don't want that. We want people that are ready to sell their house. So we want to find people that are willing to go to a page on the site, willing to spend some time, willing to read the FAQs. We look at the data, like how long they're on the site using Hotjar, heat mapping. We want to know how long they've been on the site. Like, we know that with our clients that are winning on Meta, that the average person stays on that page for 7 minutes, or on the site for 7 minutes. So if we send them to a landing page with like this much information, fill out your name and email, and that's it, then that's the kind of quality of a lead you're going to get. Is you're going to get the person that's just, just willing to fill something out, but they probably won't answer their phones. That's where most people.
What type of call to action do you think is right for that platform? Is it, call me at this number, or what would the call to action be?
I think form fills are still a winner. I like a 2-step form, typically. A 2-step form that the first step is property address, name, phone. The second step is where you get into the weeds of more property information, all the stuff. So between that window of them filling out the first step, that gives the sales team, the acquisitions team, or lead managers time to go and, get ready for that drop, and they can start making those calls, right? Like right when it hits the second form.
That's exactly what we do at WeBuyHouses.com on the main site. Google address completion, add your contact info. At that point, we've captured the lead, and then we continue to talk to them. We ask them 8 more questions.
It gets them more bought in, and it gives their time a little bit. The notifications start coming in on the back end, and then we can surprise them with, a 10-second call right away.
Yeah. And I don't have the exact math, but just looking at leads, I would guess because it's optional, that 40 to 60% of people complete the 8 questions, not just, name, address, phone, email, that I'll mention. But
we see about an 85% completion rate.
Yeah, that's really good. That's really good. I've often felt that the more, and my boss, I remember him years ago saying this, because I said, Jeremy, you think this form's too long? And he said, if they're motivated, they'll fill out the longest form you can imagine. They want to accomplish something. Like, I think at one point, because some of our clients were saying, hey, I don't want to ask so many questions on the form. I just want to make it really, really simple. And we were kind of talking about, is that good or bad to make it easier? It's easier to get somebody to engage, but maybe they're not the right person,
Yep.
Yeah, Dallin, I have a question. So what I'm getting is that Meta has made the decision that it's actually better for them to jump in the driver's seat. They don't want you to be trying to do all your start new ads inside Meta. What they want you to do is just, you go ahead, you put in your content, and then if you only create one data set, you're saying one ad set, then they have all that data over time to understand and learn from, and then you kind of undermine yourself if you keep on trying to start campaign.
Manipulate it. Yeah.
Correct. Yep. You're absolutely right. So no boosted posts, no, again, the campaigns that I'm talking about are the campaigns to generate motivated seller leads, not like middle of funnel kind of like nurture type of like, you know, approach with Meta, or like show them that we're here on social and like all that kind of brand awareness stuff. I'm talking about like direct, go find these people, the same type of people that are also looking on Google. Yes. Now there's different strategies for if you're looking for brand awareness or different attractions, stuff like that. We're just focused on let's go get deals.
Okay, 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 okay. So that we could do our job, which is acquisition and execution, and not trying to become marketing mavens.
Yeah. I think what you'll see with Meta is this is my prediction. I have theories, right, of like what's going on in the space right now. But like we just started launching for some of our clients Chat GPT ads. And so with the launch of Chat GPT ads, it's changing the dynamic. So Meta is, I don't know, I don't think Meta is scared, but I think Meta is going to try to make it as easy as possible for the everyday business owner to run ads on their platform and get a result. And then I also think second to that is that Meta is also now allowing there's like open connection, so you can put your Claude account and you can have your Claude like manage your Meta like data and actually manage your Meta account. And so with that, like if Meta is saying come in and like let's just make this as easy as possible, then it's banking on the fact that like the marketer that's pushing the buttons isn't as important anymore. It's more about what Meta knows about the actual end user, and it knows a lot. And so that being said, I mean, we're seeing changes across the board with Google, with all different platforms right now, moving to this AI and making a lot of changes. Not all AI, you know, forward ad platforms are doing well right now. Some of it is let's stay old school in some areas on Google, and in other areas, yeah, definitely use the new features. But remember, with every launch with these platforms, their number one job is to make money off of you, right? So if they can get you to like spend money to get ads, then they will find a way to take that money. And so we got to look at it from two different parts. They want us to spend, they want us to get the result, so we keep spending. They're also going to create ways that we can spend and not get a result. And so that's what I'm telling you today is like very specific guidelines so that you don't spend and put up different new campaigns and all this stuff. You just keep it focused, keep it simple, start at a $50 a day budget, don't go lower, and you don't have to start higher. $50 a day is kind of the sweet spot. And then increasing it like 20% week over week, and just keep increasing your budget. And as long as your lead cost is coming in at a sustainable rate in your market, then keep spending. And if not, like just, you know, level it out. But that's kind of what we're seeing right now.
Yeah, interesting. Other questions about that, Garfield? I'm going to move on.
No, it just, you see, well, what you're saying is that I'm trying to figure out exactly, you know, over the last couple of years, I've hired agencies to do things for me. And it kind of the actual role is changing now from a person doing ad buying or placement, content development, to one who is just smart about the platform and AI. To basically, if I don't want to do the job myself, I need somebody who understands those two things.
Yes.
Right. But I still need a good CRM on the back end that now integrates the advertising piece with Meta, the platforms, Meta, or whether it be Google. And okay.
Yeah. And the interesting thing as well is that as I mean, as we've evolved as like just being an agency to moving into the fractional world, one of the big moves that we've seen, I kind of saw this like 3-4 years ago where I was like, I think traditional agencies are dying, and I think they're going to mostly die. And so the ones that, because of AI and because of the way that even these ad platforms are making it easier for the person to just run their own ads. So I think with AI plus that, what I noticed this about 3-4 years ago, and I was like, man, we will die. And so, and then I've noticed that over the last 10 years, agencies, we can't charge more for a management fee now than we did 10 years ago. So there's more marketers that can push buttons in Meta, and there's less leaders in the space that understand at a high level what's actually moving in the market. And that's where we're trying to position. And when we are looking at being, as you're a real estate investor in a certain market, kind of thinking the same way, like how do you dominate that market by understanding what's evolving versus following the trends of what everybody's spending on. You kind of got to find your lane and then stick to that lane with these new approaches. And I think that's where the markets that are adapting like that are winning in a really big way right now. They're finding little nuggets that traditional ways, like at least on digital side, has totally shifted and changed.
So how do you position yourself with a real estate? Okay, I'm in North Carolina, and I said, okay, great, I like what you're saying. I've spoken to other guys who say, well, okay, they can do help us to do better targeting and using AI to target better um, on Google. But now you're saying the role of the agency is being diminished. How do you come in? Do you now you're able to work with more clients, or in order, because at the end of the day, you can't, you still need to do a certain amount of work to justify your existence. How do you come to me, and what role will you play in order for me to take advantage of this? Because this sounds great.
Yeah. It's a great question. What I've noticed is that, so this is actually really interesting. And this will go like, this is interesting in the topic that we have here, because there are some markets that Meta has not worked. Okay. And what we typically see is for Meta to work, you have to have a large enough audience, and you have to have a market that I haven't really cracked. I'll be very transparent. Like, I don't know what the percentage is, but there are some markets where the percentage of deals that are being sold to a real estate investor versus like just a traditional sell or listing is so low that it's really not worth putting a ton of energy into Meta. And there's a lot of better there's a lot of platforms that are better, or other marketing approaches do better in some of those markets. So what we analyze when we go into a market, we do a market analysis and we look at every market. They kind of have their own, it's kind of interesting. There's like different personalities. Like each market has its own kind of personality. There's also competitors, right, in that market, depending on how long they've been dominating SEO or they've been on TV, those kind of placements. So we look at every market based on the type of people, the market of how they're actually generating deals. And then we look at the competitors in that market. And what we try to do is we try to find where there's little gaps. So if their competitors are doing really well on Google or Meta, we may not even touch it. We might just say, hey, that's probably not a market you should be in, or try to compete against the big dogs. But you could be doing highly targeted direct mail and win all day long. And here's what that looks like. That's a whole different topic, right? A whole different discussion outside of Meta, but not every market is positioned perfectly to just win on Meta, is what I'm getting at. And that by the PPL companies that struggle in some markets where they can never get deals for their clients in those markets, or you pay for 20 really crappy Meta leads probably, and then one Google lead comes in and you're like, okay. And then they charge you $200-$300 for all of them. Right. And it's like, well, you could have went and got your own crappy Meta leads on your own.
Yeah.
So it's kind of a mixed bag in some markets. So I wish there was like a perfect formula to say that, oh, you win every time in every market in every instance. It's just not true. The other factor, this is really interesting, and we're doing more testing with this. The ones that do better on Meta typically have done more like posting on social media. Like they've been posting on Facebook and Instagram for like an extended period of time. So Meta rewards consistency, and it rewards people who have been active on the platform. So if you're a brand new investor in a new market, launching with Meta, if you haven't posted or have any brand recognition or any sort of name, you're likely to not show up as high in the Meta like rankings as somebody who's been around for a while that hasn't even ran Meta ads, but they've been just posting on social or posting reviews or getting some Facebook reviews over time. Those people usually win in the market. We just launched a new market like 2 weeks ago, and they're generating leads sub $100. They've been posting on Facebook for, like I said, a couple of years now. This has been mostly just trying to get brand awareness. They weren't really trying to get deals from it. But now with you add everything I've been saying with Meta, they're winning and they're getting deals from this, and it's only been a couple of weeks. So
yeah, what I also notice is with the strategy of trying to stay, my market, there's one guy, Jacob Mullins, who does a lot of television, and then there are a bunch of guys who, a lot of little guys, and everybody does some social media. Nobody stays on it for 6 months. What happens? They come in, you see them, they post 20, some videos, some walking videos, some pictures, but 6 months later, the campaigns generally don't last like 2 months, 3 months. You see it and then it disappears because they're exhausted trying to generate leads in this manner.
Or they do posts that like aren't super like relevant, where it's like they're just doing stuff like Happy 4th of July or Merry Christmas. And it's like, you can tell it was like created by AI or a VA, and they're just kind of doing it to go through the motions. And what I like to do is I like to tell stories. And so every single deal, or you tell stories of like how you're able to help a homeowner, even if you didn't get the deal, but you went out to the house and you're able to help them figure out that there's different solutions. And like this person, it made more sense for them to list their property. So we helped them find the right agent and they listed the property. Or we bought the property. Here's pictures of it, right? Here we fixed up this property. Here's the outcome, right? So we post a lot of, like with our clients, we'll do lots of like storytelling with images. However we can involve, like if the homeowner will get involved, that's like amazing, right? You get lots of social proof. But yeah, just telling consistent stories over time. And then we can leverage all that storytelling for radio and TV. So then when we go to work with a radio station, we say, go to our Facebook page. There's all the stories for all of your radio ads. So the person or the personality that's, promoting the radio ad, they just go to Facebook and be like, yeah, if you go to, Bridgehaven Homes in Sacramento and you go to their Facebook page, you can read about, Debbie and John who went through a divorce. They didn't know what to do with the house, blah, 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 blah. Bridgehaven Homes came in and they were able to help them get back on their feet and get a cash offer for their house. Right. And close within 7 days. And they tell those stories. So if you need, they use all of that stuff as collateral from their Facebook page, and all of that just helps everything else down the line.
Yeah. Cool. I want to start to wrap it up. This has been very interesting, and I'm learning that almost like the less I do, the better it'll be with Andromeda, this new Meta ad platform. I think a lot of people probably didn't realize that there was a change in the ad platform, and that Meta had implemented the AI layer. And then just to recap, I heard you say one campaign, one ad set, minimum age 24, set your geo. That's it.
That's it. Yep.
Because the more you tell it, you're going to just screw it up.
$50 a day, test lots of images. You can use AI to create those images, create those ads. Like it's all, yep, is basically an easy plug and play. So
Now, I think I might have asked you this question last time that we talked, but I'm gonna, you'll recognize if I did. Um, I'm giving you're my and fractional CMO is basically I get a chief marketing officer, but I don't have to pay for the whole person because I don't
yep,
need a whole one. I just need 10% of their time, and then I
yep,
could benefit from that. So I've got in this business what I've seen is pay per click and direct mail. Pay per click is people looking for us. Direct mail is us looking for people. And
yep,
then I've got SEO, which is, going to enhance my search and people looking for me.
yep,
And then I've got social. Social's been kind of it's the odd man out, for many years because, and most of my clients, if we did something with them on social, they didn't stick with it because it didn't generate any leads, Deb. Now this was prior to this change. So now, just given where we are today, I'm giving you $10,000.
yep.
How much do I put in PPC, direct mail, SEO, and social?
Ooh.
Mm.
So that's fun. So $10,000 is actually the amount that I love starting with. So what I would do in that scenario is we would do the market analysis. I'd look at what are your competitors doing on Google, where are they showing up, and I'm going to go after on Google. I'm going to go after all of the low competition keywords. I'm going to go after all of the stuff that the longer stuff, the things in like it's like sell your house fast campaign, but sell your house fast in blank city. That's going to be lower competition. It's going to be a little bit more tedious to do the work to create that longer campaign. They're called single keyword ad groups. So it's a little bit more tedious to actually manage versus just throwing out a bunch of like keywords, right? So I would put about $2,500 on that alone, just on those like low like competition keywords on
Yeah.
Google. It's going to get your bottom of the funnel, high intent people. That's going to get the wheels turning. Then I'm going to put $1,500 a month on Meta, and then the rest I'm going to do direct mail.
Oh yeah.
And then I'm going to wait. I'm going to wait, and remember, I'm going to wait. I'm going to make sure I keep that consistent spend for the next 90 to 120 days. What most people do, the mistake that they make is next week they go to the mastermind
Oh
and
my
they
God.
sit at a table
Um,
and they just start spending $2,500 on Google, like I just said. And then next week, somebody says, have you heard about the Andromeda update at a table like me? And then they think that they're gonna cut all of that and they're gonna go do something completely different. So now they've just wasted $2,500 for the algorithm to start learning, to getting enough clicks, to get the people into the pipeline, to that the salespeople have already gone out to the houses. They might be closing deals off of that. Meanwhile, they just turned it off and they don't have the data to make a change. This is where every investor they start thinking, they start getting really, really scarce. They get a scarcity mindset and they start being cheap. And they got to think about it like they're investing in it. You got to think like an investor. You are an investor. So stick with it, hold it for 90 to 120 days. It takes time for the AI to figure it out, to go find it. So you're not going to get a deal in week one. And if you do, wow, you just hit the lottery. Like it's
right.
amazing.
Yeah.
Like keep it going. Take the money, throw it back in and increase your budget like really quickly. But stick with those things. Direct mail takes time. It takes frequency. It takes frequency on Meta. Google, as soon as you start seeing something work, just keep pouring money into it and raise your bids. Just keep going hard on Google. Andromeda, Meta with the Andromeda update, you just got to be consistent over time. The same with direct mail. And then Google, just spend as much as you can and scale it if you're getting the right leads coming in.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, that's awesome. Great input.
I don't get excited about it at all, as you guys can tell. I'm
Yeah.
not very passionate.
I kind of have a Vulcan mind meld with you because if you know what that means, it may be an old reference. But marketing and real estate, just been my life for the last 20 years. And I'm a marketing guy my whole career, but focused on this space. And I've come to really appreciate people that know the space. And I think we were talking about this maybe before I hit record is, you hire somebody to do SEO, but they've never worked for a real estate investor. Don't expect huge results, right? Because they don't understand your space. They're going to write a website for a real estate agent or something. So
Correct.
I think it's really interesting, and I also think your business model is interesting because most real estate investing firms don't really either want to spend the money on full-time marketing expertise or who's going to come work for them as a CMO to work this market in Poughkeepsie or whatever. So I think we do need kind of more of a fractional approach to using experts. We can't we don't want to pay for the whole expert.
Yeah.
We want to just get a little bit.
That's what people do is that, and then they'll hire like a really cheap, like a marketing manager with no experience in it, and then wonder why it's not really moving. Or they go on the other side and they do bring in somebody that is maybe a really good CMO, but again, you're right, Dev, like they don't have the real estate investor experience.
Yeah.
They might understand marketing, but they don't know. So it takes them 6 months to ramp up, where we're about 14 days. Like we can get things rocking and rolling fast.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
How big is your firm?
How big did you say?
Yeah. How many people do you have working for you actually doing this?
Yeah, we have, I always say we have, well, we just hired a bunch of people. We have about 19 with a Roar email address. And then we have a contract network of about 70 that are doing projects, month over month kind of thing. And then we've got another vendor network of about 150 approved vendors that we've partnered with in different ways, from data to direct mail to other things like that. So we're kind of everybody's friend. Like we love to refer a vendor over when it makes sense, or we build it in-house with you. Really, it's all about, like what you said, Dev, it's about being fluid and just finding where the business is at, and then creating a marketing department that matches the goals of the CEO or the owner of the company. People have different goals, and based on those goals, you might need somebody full-time in-house. And sometimes you bring in a fractional just for us to get it going, and then we hand over the reins to that director or person that's going to take it long-term. So
it seems like when you hire an agency, that agency does pay-per-click, or they do SEO, or they do social, or they do PR, or whatever. Where if you hire a fractional marketing professional, you would get, I guess, a little bit of all of that. You're not having to, because one of the things, the other thing I've seen that's kind of challenging for businesses in our space is, you get multiple agencies involved and you're spending a lot of money at that point. Let's face it, probably 2-3 grand on each of them. And they don't know what each other's doing. And it's not a complementary strategy. And in fact, it may even create some conflicts in messaging between what you're saying on social versus what your Google ads say. And so I have never hired a fractional employee, but as I look at this space and the types of needs that these guys have, it seems to make a lot of sense to me. And it seems to make more sense than hiring 4 or 5 agencies to do these different things. Instead, hire somebody that can kind of oversee all that, take care of it, get vendors where they're needed, but more like having a marketing department than having 5 agency relationships. Yeah, that makes sense to me.
we think so.
I bet you do. All right. Well, I'm late for my next thing. I hate to say that because I love spending time with you and my friend Garfield.
Yeah, and I have somebody waiting for me right now.
So, hey, Garfield, let's just Dallin, just tell us if somebody wants to reach out and talk to you more about this, like what's your website, what's your email, how would they contact you?
Yeah, go to Roar, so like the lion, RoarCXO.com. So RoarCXO.com. You can book a discovery call, or just give us a ring, shoot us a text. It's all on there. So
Yeah.
Okay.
Well,
Okay.
cool.
Well,
And I told Dallin, I said, I don't invite anybody on to produce an ad or sell their service or whatever. But when I meet a smart person, I want to share that smart person with my clients, with my audience on YouTube, because that's how we're going to get better. Smart people, we find them, we get them involved in our team, and we make improvements in what we do, and we beat our competition that way. So I think it's been great spending time with you. And you also, Garfield, long time no see. Look forward.
okay. Okay. Hopefully we do this again sometime
All
soon.
right.
Okay.
Well, I'm going to go ahead, guys. I'm going to go ahead and say goodbye and hit end of the record. Any parting words?
Ready.
Okay.
Thanks,
Okay.
guys. No, I
Bye,
appreciate your
Dylan.
time.
Bye, Dev.
All right.
Bye.
Bye
See
bye.
you.